But this did bring up a huge point, I would say, is why is Asuka feeling like the third wheel in a feud for her title? That is why I said when we were just talking about the Bianca Charlotte Chelsea Sonya match, it would have been great to have had Asuka involved in some way to remind everybody that the reason why Charlotte and Bianca are feuding is because they both want the championship, which happens to be held by Asuka. So I'm not digging that aspect of this rivalry.
I have a question. Do you think that they're not having Asuka be the center of this feud between Bianca and Charlotte is because if you did it, with one of them being the main feud or both of them being the main feud with Asuka, it would kind of take away from the fact that after this triple threat and say, because Asuka's gonna retain, or Io's gonna cash in, like whatever.
Yeah.
What you don't think
I'm
that
just not, I'm not 100% sure. I really don't
it's
know. We have to remember Charlotte is in the match.
yeah, but then what if she
Um,
loses because of Bianca or something? Then that can lead to Bianca and Charlotte feud for months, which
right.
honestly is probably the best avenue for both those women, and especially with what we're going to talk about in a little bit with some of her acquaintances. We'll say
Yes. Yeah.
it's a very interesting dynamic that yeah, it might be a Becky and Trish situation where like how long can this thing go for? But because of I would say the amount of range that both of them have, with the in-ring stuff, the backstage stuff, the promos, you could have this be like a legit feud until like Survivor Series.
Well, I think that's the most ideal scenario for most people would be for Asuka to walk out champion because I think nothing against Bianca, but she was just champion for over a
Come
year
on,
and
not her turn.
people are sick of Charlotte being champion constantly, even if it is, just to be cashed in on. It's just ridiculous at this point. And, obviously there was thought, you would think, into the decision to have Asuka take the title off of Bianca. So it doesn't really make any sense to take the title off her so quickly. Um, so I think the ideal scenario is for Asuka to win and after the triple threat at SummerSlam to have Bianca and Charlotte feud and it not be over the championship. We've talked about how they kind of need to step away from being so integrated into the title picture because they've both been championed recently and recently or for a long time. So it would be nice to see a change and that be Asuka. Maybe Asuka feuds with Io. Maybe she feuds with Bailey. Something that doesn't involve people who have been constantly champion over the past year. So if that's what happens, that's fine. And I think maybe you're right. Asuka kind of being a third wheel is maybe a sign that the reason why they're having Bianca and Charlotte go after each other so much is because it is setting up for what's going to happen after SummerSlam.
Absolutely.
But I am worried that that's a little bit of wishful thinking. I don't want to convince myself that
Well,
that's
it just makes
actually what it
sense
is.
because
But
what else are they gonna do? This isn't the Vince era where it was predictability. It's a completely different era right now. And Asuka winning and Io, that's one thing that could spark from it. Bianca losing or Charlotte losing because of whatever each other, like some bullshit. Or like you can even include Shotzi in that because Bailey is by your side. Like it feels like this will be a very important match for the blossoming of the women's division moving forward.
I hope so. I hope we're not disappointed.